Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and what we're going to talk about for just a few minutes here is we're going to try to wrap up, and we're going to finish up with Chapter 10. And in Chapter 10, you're going to see that they talk about building everything in your organization around good strategy and effective strategy execution. And so with that, we just need to talk about the fact of the organization as a whole. We need to look at things like, is the table of organization set up correctly? Is the chain of command in place that is really needed in order to be able to execute all the tasks? Is the span of control of all of your supervisory personnel and managers, is it done correctly? Are your processes in place so that things can be done in a systemic fashion and that things aren't arbitrary or nebulous or capricious in nature, that there's a reason why things happen and that things are logical and rational? And does all of your policy and your SOPs, your standard operating procedures, do they support that in fact? And of course, if you're going to be a high-performing organization and you're going to try to execute strategy correctly, you're going to need to hire great people. If there's anything that's important to an organization, if there's anything that adds value to an organization, it's hiring the right people. And as Jim Collins says in Good to Great, it's not just getting the right people on the bus, but it's getting them in the right seat. There are many organizations that try very hard to hire good people, but then something goes astray when they try to put them into various positions. Then there may be internal politics, there may be cronyism involved, there could be poor judgment, maybe there's no testing, no internal testing, or the wrong training has been provided. And somehow, through these convoluted steps of the hiring process, or through the orientation into the organization, people end up in the wrong spots. And I think today, if you were to go throughout corporate America, and even in government organizations, various government organizations, and ask people if they're in the right organization, they tell you no. But if they do tell you yes, that they're in the right organization, I think if you ask them, am I in the right position, they then might say no. I find that very few people feel as if they're in the right organization and in the right spot, in the right position for high performance or for their ability to excel. Also in Chapter 10, on page 173, you'll see a list of 10 principal components that are required for good strategy execution. And of those, these are some of the most important ones. Good policy, good procedures, hiring good people, making sure that things work in a systems approach, that things work as smooth as they possibly can. We've discussed in the past that there are times where you may have to react, you may have to make adjustments based off your assessment of progress during the implementation of your strategic plan. I understand that. But there's really no excuse for not doing all of the pre-planning and the resourcing and the homework that is required before you actually step off and try to implement your strategic plan. Make sure that you've done it correctly, make sure that you've done it comprehensively in nature, and you should have high degrees of success. Yes, will there have to be modifications made? Certainly. Will you have to react to external circumstances or even internal issues that may come up during the year? Absolutely. But in the long run and in the end, I think you'll find success if you develop a strong strategic plan and you put strong processes in place for the management of that plan or the strategic management process of your organization. With that, I thank you very much for your time and energy, and I appreciate your attention. Take care.